Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about 3 different raid comps that you're going to see in the Burning Crusade. Keep in mind that these comps are subject to change. If Blizzard is to nerf or buff anything or add additional changes into the game, these comps could become completely irrelevant. With that being said, be sure to check the pinned comments for any updated information regarding these changes. The biggest change would be moving party-wide buffs to a raid-wide buff scenario. You would no longer bring as many shamans, and if I had to take a guess, you would start to stack more BM hunters because of ferocious inspiration. And with that being said, let's jump into these raid comps. Starting things off, we have the traditional balanced raid comp, pretty much bringing one of each class and spec so that all buffs and debuffs are covered. Of course, bringing 5 shamans so that every group gets bloodlust. This comp will bring some of the most consistent raid DPS throughout the entirety of TBC, and for that reason, it's going to be very common to see a lot of guilds running this exact raid comp. This comp is also really flexible, making it very easy to progress into certain raid tiers. For example, you would change things around going into Serpentine Caverns in Tempest Keep, maybe bringing more mages and warlocks, and as you progress into late Black Temple or even Sunwell, you could bring more warriors or BM hunters. Next up, we have the speedrun raid comp. This is focused more so on overall damage, and of course, clearing the raid as quickly as possible. Now to back up this information I'm going to go over, let's look at some previous world records over on Warcraft logs. Now for Serpentine Caverns, you're going to stack a ton of warlocks, obviously because they are the kings of AoE in this game. Seed of Corruption just does so much damage on overall, and when you're stacking up multiple trash packs, warlocks and mages are going to be the kings of AoE. Mages are very competitive early on, but once you get into late Black Temple, they do start to fall off. As for Tempest Keep, pretty much the same thing, bringing a couple more hunters because of the bosses and the nature of the raid. Looking at Black Temple, you will see a little bit more of a balanced raid comp compared to Serpentine Caverns and Tempest Keep, due to the fact that a lot more armor penetration comes into the game and you're able to build a more physical comp rather than just stacking warlocks. Same thing goes for Mount Hyjal, not a whole lot to talk about here as well. And then lastly, looking at Sunwell Plateau, you'll still bring 2 to 3 hunters and 2 to 3 warlocks. But this time you're focusing much more on physical raid DPS rather than caster DPS. You'll even notice the world record brought 2 Ret Paladins rather than having 1 go holy. So to recap, you will bring more mages and warlocks early on because of their overall damage, but as you progress into later raids like Black Temple and Sunwell, you will start to stack more physical DPS. And then lastly, we're going to go over the kill time metric. This is specifically focused on how fast you can kill a boss. This of course will change depending on what boss fight and what raid tier you're currently in, but for the most part, you're going to stack a ton of BM hunters and focus on just pure single target damage. BM hunters are going to outshine most classes in almost every single fight. Of course, you have exceptions like High King Mulgar where you're going to stack a ton of arcane mages, or fights like Shade of Akama where warlocks are typically a little bit better. Going back to the first raid comp we talked about, the balanced raid comp is arguably going to put up some really consistent numbers as well in terms of how fast they kill the boss, but depending on what encounter you're currently doing, sometimes more BM hunters or more warlocks are going to outshine that comp. And that's pretty much everything I got for the 3 raid comps you're going to see in the Burning Crusade. Be sure to comment down below what you think the perfect raid comp will be, and as always, thanks for watching, like and subscribe for more TBC content in the future, and I will see you in the next video.